How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm alive and well.
So, first of all, thanks for coming.
It's a privilege.
Is it no now?
It is
you're
now.
the guy.
You're
You're the guy,
Dr.
Kingie.
Foy.
You're the guy, Kingie.
Yeah, Dr. Foy. You walked my dream job like years ago. I moved on.
But really honored to have you here.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be here too.
By the Christmas tree, my kids and I did this tree. So my two daughters, my two daughters and my wife. Like it was Sunday morning. This was our church.
Oh,
So, yeah, we did the tree.
cute.
One reason why I want you to have this convo with you was because you're redefining something that I am still figuring out. So my first question for Kingie will be, I really regard your vulnerability. I'm like, who's this guy? You say, don't give up. You're trying. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, because I grew up in a time, I'm 36. I grew up in a time where we were pushed hard by everybody. Parents, life, like it was a different era. And you represent, I won't call it the Gen Z, but that generation. So what influences made you this vulnerable and this guy?
Thank you. It's a lot of things. I feel like it's very nuanced. It's a lot of things that come together to form how I present myself on the internet and my take on vulnerability and honesty. Two things. I remember my sister saying something to me. I think this year, was it last year? Was it last year or this year? She was saying one of the things she admired about me when I was growing up was the fact that I was not afraid to say my mind. That even to my parents.
Were you the first child?
No, I'm the youngest.
That's why you're free, because you're last born. Remember, they will slap me.
My mother will beat the chicken out of you.
Me say my mind to my dad.
It's very funny. I was terrified of my parents. More of my mom. Mom, I love you. Yeah, but I was afraid of you. I always felt like, what's the point of hiding how you feel, how you see things? Because if I strongly believe if everybody in the world was honest, would literally not have all the problems we have.
I think so.
I believe so. If we told the truth, like
we listen, we don't judge. So we're honest. But can people receive honesty?
That's the thing. If you're a person of honesty, I believe you can receive and appreciate honesty. I believe if you are like, if you have nothing to hide and I have nothing to hide, we can interact.
It's easier.
It's easier. Yes, it's easier. We can actually solve problems and not just move around stuff.
Because a lot of men move around stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. And I think we were trained like that. There was a time in life where men had to go through redefining moments. So do you know a man had to go for war? Mm-hmm. So the idea of men don't cry is not out of place. Do you get the point?
I get you.
There's a place where men shouldn't cry.
Yeah.
Because of the moments of men.
Yeah.
We had to go for war. We had to, and I'm not trying to read about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say a man shouldn't cry, for example, I know that I have uncles who fought Biafra. Mm-hmm. For real, I'm Igbo.
Wow.
Yeah, I have uncles that fought. My dad was alive during Biafra.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's I'm an Igbo man. I'm an Igbo boy. I'm the first son. There's that part of, yeah, man. Like what? Like what is this crying about? What is that? Mm-hmm. Get the point. What's all that about? Mm-hmm. And then there's Kingie, who is encouraging you to cry.
You know what makes this very interesting?
Yeah.
Is so I made a video with somebody a while back. And we talked about this whole men are allowed to cry thing, and in my mind I'm just like, I feel like men crying shouldn't have to be a subject.
Why?
Because men are humans. They are allowed to feel emotions. And there are sometimes in certain moments, I saw something yesterday and said that feelings are the worst leaders. Your feelings are the worst leaders you can have, because they're fleeting. You are allowed to feel your feelings, but your feelings should also be under your control. And as a man, I feel like one of the philosophies I live by, which is one of the things my mentor taught me, and is that we walk by faith, not by feelings. Number one. And also, what makes you a man is not your ability to not show emotion. It's your ability to take responsibility. Your ability to take responsibility beyond how you feel. Sometimes, for you to stand in a position of responsibility, you have to put your feelings aside.
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
You have to put your feelings aside. Doesn't necessarily mean your feelings are not
feel
valid.
Your feelings.
Feel your feelings, but they're not everything. And I feel like considering I'm a Christian, I live by it. Let me say, I try to live by it.
All of us try.
I try to
we
live
all
by
try,
it.
man.
I try to live by it. And funny enough, before I came here, I was speaking with my friends Tolu about me coming here and talking about this subject. And while I was speaking with him, I remember trying to answer this same question. So my brain is doing something again. Just
it's fine. About manhood. Same questions about manhood.
So what
men are allowed to feel.
Men are allowed to feel.
Yeah, men are allowed to feel, but be responsible. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
So again,
yeah. So I was having a conversation with my friend Tolu, and we on the same subject, and I remember mentioning something on the subject of responsibility, and I'm like, in Yoruba, when we say "enikan shokunrin," like in Yoruba, I don't know, when you say, so it means like somebody acted like a man.
Yeah.
It basically means this person stood in a place of responsibility, took responsibility.
Wow. Eniko.
Wait, okay, let's say
is your Yoruba good?
My Yoruba is fair.
Okay.
So let's say Dr. Fo is shokunrin. It means this man has taken responsibility either for his family or for the people around him. Maybe something happened and he steps into a position of responsibility, takes charge and makes things happen.
So taking responsibility does not mean not having feelings.
Doesn't mean not having feelings.
So you can cry, but still take responsibility.
You can be crying and be doing what you need to do.
Do you know what I read as a child in med school? Not as a child, as a younger person. So there's a guy that taught us about, he said the opposite of responsibility. What's the logical answer?
Irresponsibility.
He said no. He said trauma. And he broke it down, and daddy was hard. He said,
that slaps. Oh my God. I see it, but go.
He said, if a person, and he's a Christian guy, so he said, if a man was made in God's image and likeness, he has every infrastructure to be responsible. But what makes him irresponsible is not only choice, it's wounds and trauma. It's the brokenness, it's the abuse, it's the bad teaching, it's everything that, because he said you were made whole. When you were formed to be whole. But everything, trauma. So traumas are like wounds that puncture you. Yeah. You were made whole. And for me, that's so key. That you can understand as a person, like you can know that you're not irresponsible by choice. It's by trauma. And if you can fix all the traumas, if you can just fix traumas and fix, yeah. Fix. For example, I know someone who they just kept telling you can't. As a child, you can't. I know somebody who grew up with a very anxious mom. So yeah, and yeah, I would say they're irresponsible, but they just can't respond to life.
There are certain things there are certain spaces they can't step into
They freeze.
Yeah.
And guess what? They freeze genuine. That's the part that I've been able to see about some guys. They actually freeze genuinely. Yeah. It's not like they just. Because I'm driven as a person. I'm a bit driven because of my context. I've always been. I'm the first son. I'm kind of gifted.
Kinda.
Yeah, kind of gifted. And so I've always been driven. So I always have a good self-talk. Like a great self-talk.
Yeah.
And then I meet a lot of people. And I met a lot this year. There was a time where I shut everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with everybody. Because I realized, I thought that this irresponsibility was just self-made. No, it's not. A lot of people cannot respond because of deep traumas. For real. So the opposite of being responsible, being able to respond to life, I'm telling you, it's trauma. It's trauma. Is and until I met somebody who just, I'm like I help, like, for real, my guy, what's wrong with you? Like, and I could just say, oh wow, there are walls. Kingie, just walls. And I'm like, oh, just walls. And so we have to deal with, most of us have to have therapy session and trauma session. We need to do these things as men.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to therapy before?
Yeah, I have. I have been to therapy. I do not want to talk about why I went to therapy on camera. So,
but just say one thing the therapist said to you.
What?
Say one thing the therapist said to you. Well,
my therapist said she was very happy that she talked to me because I made her feel good about herself.
I've been to therapy before. I've been to therapy before too. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And most of my own therapy sessions were about clarity.
Oh, okay.
Clarity, because I realized that sometimes being gifted in many things can make you overwhelmed and consumed and. So my next question: are you clear about your future? Who's Kingie? Do you know who Kingie is now?
Do I know who Kingie is?
Sincerely.
That's a very big question. That's a very, 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 very big question. First and foremost, Kingie is a child of God.
Okay, one.
Yeah, Kingie is a child of God. Kingie is a creative.
Okay.
Kingie is. I feel like I'm basically putting up my entire life's mission statement on camera. But yeah, culture architect.
Okay.
Kingie is David, literally.
Are you sure?
Literally, yeah. David to Saul kind of thing.
Why are you serious?
Yeah.
So will your mind...
the PAC thing is not a fluke.
It's Kingie.
It's Kingie.
David, huh?
Yeah, it's a
Have you fought battles? But you don't look like you fought battles, Kingie. Are you joking? You fought with. Have you fought battles, Kingie?
It's very funny how I was having a conversation with somebody and I'm like, I think I'm going to have to fight all my life. And am I coming to terms with that? This is getting really dark. I'm sorry. But I feel like I've come to terms with the fact that I know that I might have to fight like my entire existence. Which almost sounds like David, because it's like your hands have been stained with blood. But I also feel like there's a difference, because from David there and David here, technically no, biologically there's a lot of, but I fight from a vantage point of victory.
Wow, this is the reason why I said wow was that my yesterday's meditation and my morning prayer was about David today.
Huh.
I think it was in 1 Samuel, and it says, and David perceived he was king. That was my motto, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And David perceived he was king, and this is the truth. I think that, and I'm saying it on camera because I think I should say it. I think Africa needs the Generation Z for their freedom, for real. The Gen Z. but not the generalized Z. Because there's a generalized Z that is almost negative. There's a generalized Z. Generalize Z. Don't generalize Z them.
Yeah,
I think so. I think that they are the guys. I think you guys can. I'll tell you why. Because of the advocacy mindset you guys have. You're advocates. For the first time, algorithms over anchors. So in those days, we could do media and story and information was part on anchors. Now it's on algorithms. So it's a different. You get the point?
Yeah.
There's everything for you guys. There's democracy of technology. There's democracy of platform. I'm like, these guys can, because I'm about the African guy. I'm about Africans should have African creatives, African leaders, African minds should have an equal future. That's that's one of my pursuits. I think the Gen Zs, not the generalized Zs, the Gen Zs that have clarity, that have focus, that have authentic ideas and all that, are the guys that would change Africa.
Yeah.
And I think that you're part of them.
Thank
so
you,
when you
sir.
say you fought battles, for real, you look like you're chilled, man. So you still fight battles, huh? Wow.
To God be my glory.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I remember something. Auntie Minke, I love you. She's one of my pastors. I remember she said something to me this year and was like, one of the reasons why what you do is so impactful is because you've lived it. You've felt it. You know what it's like to be here. And when you speak, people know. It's honesty and truth is
spiritual. It's not, you can't fake it.
You can't fake it. Like,
so do you know, I would have, I can show you my own body, my own battle scars. But no scars, you know scars.
Well,
but it's somewhere there.
So I'll give you a hint into some of the things I've had to deal with. I've dealt with depression.
Wow.
I've dealt with anxiety.
Wow.
My self-esteem used to be like this.
Wow, I hear you.
It's very funny. I used to hate looking in the mirror.
Wow, I hear you.
It's very funny. I can almost say throughout my uni, I can count the number of pictures I have of myself.
Wow.
Like it's like I sit down and I think about it, I'm like, okay. Yeah, so and it took journeying with God and getting to see myself from his perspective for some of these things to change. It took moments in time with him for some of these things to change. And so I'll give you a hint. You know the PAC thing? It's actually referencing two things in one. So I don't know if you know this song. You will stay true even when the lights come. Your word remains true. That love is far beyond all understanding. So in 2018,
Young and Free.
Yeah, in 2018, I heard that song but it was Amanda Cook of Bethel Music then that sang it. It's like a 12-minute or 9-minute long song, like her version of it. And I remember 2018, I would literally have moments where I would just freeze and I can't do anything. And my mind is like imploding. And I just plug my ears. Funny enough, I had this compact mini. And I would just like open it and play the songs. And it was my cousin that gave me the laptop then. Play it and I'll just play it and put on repeat till I sleep off. And when I wake up, I'm fine. So it's like understanding where God's peace comes from and how is peace beyond what because there's only so much your mind can wrap itself around. I feel like it's only so much your mind can wrap itself around. In those moments, sometimes the things that brought me into those spaces don't necessarily go away, but it's in acknowledging his peace and taking it in that my mind is.
Should be told, I've dealt with anxiety all my life.
Really?
Yeah, all. And I'm a creative. Like, I write.
Yeah, you do. You do.
I write, I create sounds, I host, I do everything. And for a long time, I never liked that I had 5. You know how to say, he gave some 2, he gave some 1, he gave some, like, I thought that, nah, man, I just wanted 1 talent or something. This is what I'm done. Because it was, I understand when you say that, till today, I say stuff like to myself, don't give up. I say it, like, I said this morning, don't give up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so what makes this really interesting is hearing this from someone like you who's doing what you're doing at where you're at.
It's real. This more so because I have a relationship with somebody and it's called my imagination. We're different. He's a child. I have made sure my wife hasn't hurt him, my kids haven't hurt him. Nobody, I protect him. He's a child. My imagination is there. He's a child. He's still a child. And I beg him, don't give up. He gets frustrated. He gets frustrated, but he's there. Okay. He gets tired. People mock him. People don't understand the scale of what he wants to do. But every day I fight for him. I said, don't give up. People, he's looking, before he was looking for people that are available to see, but he's okay now. He's fine. He's okay. So what he does now is that he's been able to find friends in peace and joy. Yeah, he's been able to just find friends for real. So sometimes he begs. So I take it like I rest in my kid's room because it's a childish room. So I sleep there. I'm serious. I'm being real. I rest there, and I don't care what people feel about that child. That my is there. I protect it because that's my best writings are from him. My funniest jokes are from. So I don't. I love him. I've forgiven him. Yeah. So I protect. I'm serious. And yeah, so till today I say don't give up, because a lot of people are not introspective, Kingie. And guess what? I say this with no condescending tones. It's just they don't know what. Like, you get the point. There's nothing about it. Yeah, there's no. I'm not being condescending. I'm not trying to condescend. And like, people just don't know how to even reflect, think, process. My next question to Kingie will be: so when, I won't say when, how much do you not love yourself? How much do you not love yourself? Because how much do you love yourself?
How much do I love myself? I don't know.
But it's there now. It's becoming.
I feel like I am kinder to myself.
That's fair.
I'm kinder to myself. I'm kinder to myself.
Let me tell you what I did to myself. Can I share?
Yeah,
so I call it, I curate myself. But K is for the curate is spelled with K.
Yeah.
So I'm kinder to myself. Mm-hmm. I'm now beginning to understand myself. So I spend time to understand myself. I spend time to receive love. Because I realized I didn't know how to receive love. Like receive. For real, I'm being honest with you. So I'm kinder to myself. I'm beginning to understand myself. I learned how to receive love. As R, appreciate myself, spend time with myself, and the E, empathize, forgive myself. So I'm kind to myself now. I now understand that do I really want to own these companies? Not really. Maybe I just have partners. I'm receiving love. Before I used to never receive love. So I receive love as R. Then A is I appreciate myself now. I spend time with myself. And then I have empathy. For real, I forgive myself. So I curate. And that's what I call love myself. Because I have to teach myself. I have to teach myself that, and it's more of that child in me, that I'm kind to him. I understand him. I receive love. I know now, before I used to suffer. I'll do big things and I'm depressed. Because I couldn't receive it. I just didn't have now I receive a smile. But I'll be sincere with you. Do you know what really healed me? My daughters.
People always say that when you have kids, it's something it does.
Yeah, they healed me. Yesterday, my Ziva, that she's the older one, she asked me, how do ants travel to America?
How do ants
travel to America? And I had to explain to her how they travel. And I said that the first thing they do is that they will climb your box. And I say, yeah. And then you do now stay on your box. And then do you now check in your box? Then when you check in your box, do not bring their own lunch. See, it's true. And they now, as the ants now, I'm serious. Actually, and it made sense to her.
But did you know that the rats we have in Africa?
Yes.
That's exactly how they came.
They migrated, yes, now.
Through ships. Like they were on the ships,
yes.
and that's how they came. Like we don't have, they're not native to.
I know, they migrated to Nigeria. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. So, but it's the kids, is that part of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Because I think you are important to the Gen Zs. The Gen Z, not the generalized Z. I'll tell you why. 3 things. Number 1 is, I think they are going to go through a lot of anxiety and depression. And I'll tell you why. Because they don't have the framework for pretense.
For pretense?
Yes. So we had a framework of denial.
Yeah, no one has to just push things aside.
Yeah, but because so they have to deal with it. We just denied it. Denied it. Yeah, we suppressed it. Mm-hmm. But they have to deal with it because they are in a hypersensitive world. Platforms, socials, people. So they are sane. So that's number 1. Number 2, they are going to be, they are very informed, but an information, it could be dangerous to, not bad, just it could be dangerous because sometimes knowledge in the wrong time is bad.
Yeah. You know, what you said about my generation is, I feel like we're like all living in glass houses. And like before, when you could show up at work and be great and run back home and go and cry, and nobody will know you are crying at home. Yeah. And unlike before, when you didn't really know that there was a 15-year-old who was building a mega company like halfway across the world. You did not know that somebody somewhere was doing something that you're doing and earning way much more. There's a lot of things that sometimes I feel like older people don't cut us slack for. Because more often than not, what is being said is you have all these advantages, but then it's these disadvantages that, I don't know if you get what I mean. Like
fully.
And in my mind, I'm like, there is so much. There is so much. Like people say things like Gen Zs don't want to work. If we check history, there's always the kids of nowadays syndrome. Like
always,
there's always going to be the kids of nowadays syndrome. I saw this article a while back where they were analyzing, and they showed that every single generation had a point when people said they didn't want to work. And it just shows that things are changing, and because people don't want to adjust to the change, it looks like nobody wants to work. But if you check it, Gen Zs that are passionate about what they want to do are the most driven. They spend so much time at work.
I'm telling you.
Because they know what they want. And another thing I see also is, I feel like my generation lacks one thing, and it's hope. My generation has been stripped of hope. And it's one of the reasons why when you hear people say Gen Zs don't want to work, or Gen Zs don't want to put in the effort, Gen Zs are not committed to the long term, is because they've seen people who have committed to the long term, and they're like, you see a person who has been working one job for the last 50 years, and you're like, show me, what can you show for it?
And then you see that somebody can just become...
You get, like, there's somebody who does something for 5 years and their entire generation is settled. And there's this person who has been working for 35 years and still can't pay his kids' uni fees.
I hear you.
So when you have this dynamics in front of you,
I hear you.
It's harder to
I hear you.
Hold on to hope.
Do you think what is the relationship of the Gen Z and faith? What do you think? Do you think that they're gonna, I don't know, I'm asking, do you think, because sometimes they call out big pastors online, guy, and I get scared. You know us, we can't. We can't. They call out, man, they call out, I can't say anybody call out, but they call out people.
They call out people.
They call out people. And I'm like,
yo.
Us, we grew up with, if you they will curse you, the curse of the Lord. That's what I grew up with, but they call out, so what do you think?
I feel I am of the opinion that Gen Zs are very open to faith. They are just not open to religion. They're not open to just systems. Gen Zs they bring us the real deal. We'll take it. Like, sincerely. Because I'm thinking about a generation that's struggling with their mental health, the generation that's struggling with identity, needs something beyond just themselves to define it. And the moment we find the real deal, we will take it. Check it, Gen Zs that are really serious Christians are really serious Christians.
I hear you.
And we are unapologetic about our faith, because we know that for someone like me, I know what my relationship with God has done for me as regards my mental health. I may not every single time on the internet write it there, Jesus healed me of depression. Jesus healed me of anxiety.
But that's not even the message.
But I have had moments when I questioned my faith in the last 1 year. And because
I've questioned my faith this year. I questioned my faith, and I'm a faith person, but I questioned, I'm real with you, I questioned the way we practice it, the show-offs, I question the need to be perfect, but the need to be bougie about faith, because I was in Jos this year. It's different.
It's completely different over there.
I was in Jos this year. I question. I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm repenting because I question my faith. I'm like, it cannot be me. Everything about my faith is about me and my blessing, and there has to be a part of we and them, and I live in Lekki. That's my house, and just down the road you see kids that sleep on the road.
Yeah. I saw what you wrote about them.
Yeah, just down the road is like the Oni road. They've blocked everywhere, so almost 10,000 kids, 10,000 people have been displaced in that space.
Wow.
So what next? Because they're like slums that are deep, and I'm like, so I'm like, God, but I think it's not bad to question faith, because God is not afraid of questions, I think.
So this and one of my favorite human beings on earth is Amanda Lindsay Cook. I don't know if you know Amanda.
Of course, I know Amanda Lindsay Cook.
I love Amanda. I love Amanda so much. I feel like Amanda and I had to exist in the same timeline.
Wow.
Like,
do you know who that is for me? And please don't judge me.
Who?
Please don't judge me.
Who?
Please don't
I won't judge
me.
you. I promise I won't judge you.
I want to look at you. Kanye West and I had to exist in the same era.
You know what's very interesting?
Kanye West and I had to exist in the same era.
I feel like Kanye is on top of the list but I feel like Kanye is one of the same people for me.
I forgive him.
Like,
see, I forgive Kanye.
Can I tell you one thing Kanye's existence did for me?
What?
And I think kind of the same. I feel like Amanda and Kanye have a lot in common. Yes, I saw your face. You're like, okay. So Amanda wasn't so vocal about her struggle with her mental health until like this year.
Yeah. I've watched a few things.
Yeah. Kanye is one person who, allow me to say this, Kanye has always been mad.
And he's not afraid to be mad.
And he's not afraid to be
mad. He's not lying
mad.
that he's mad.
And he's doing what he has to do. And Kanye is one of the people whose existence reminded me that you don't have to have it all figured out. Like you can be chaotic and still make things happen. For real. Like Kanye is one of the reasons why. Yeah,
no, that's so good, good.
You can be chaotic and still make things happen. God still uses broken vessels. Like you can have every.
Have you had heartbreak?
Have I had heartbreak? I think I've had a couple.
But did it hurt that much?
So you know what's very funny? And people don't believe this. I've never actually been in a relationship.
Okay, so I now can drag you like great man.
Oh God.
Kingie is single. Oh my God. The king of single. I'm going to drag Kingie.
What did I just drag myself into? I've never actually been in a relationship. But the funny thing is, I feel like one of the things I've come to learn is it's very interesting how people talk about this. Okay, this is how I put it. Friendships. In my head, I equate romantic relationships and platonic relationships. Let me put it this way. This might sound very spiritual, but covenant relationships.
I get it.
Yeah. Let me put it in a more would I want to say this in a more general term, in a more secular term? Soulmates.
You have soulmates.
I feel like soulmates are not necessarily
for marriage
romantic.
Only. No, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
I'm going to use that.
You know how David and Jonathan.
Yes.
For real. And guys, so let me also say this here. The only reason, one of the reasons why I teach like from Bible is not because of religion. I wish people get it.
It's that profound truth that's in it.
Yeah, and I really love books, but most people don't read books. So at least there's a book everybody has read. So can we use it? Reference? Yeah, and so and I have Muslim friends, and I'm like they know that I'm not trying to win them with my Bible conversation. I'm not trying to win them. If I want, wow,
great,
wonder. But because for me, it's just like it's like a Buddhist. You know how have you watched Indian films? They always put their Indian gods inside.
Yeah.
Have you thought about it? Yeah, they put their Indian gods. I went to do a deal with a deal with a Chinese company. When I got there, we first washed hands. Then they bought one thing that was doing. They're praying in a business. I'm saying so I'm like, these guys. It's not like religion it's like culture for them. So that's it. Last question, because we've had a good time. Last question for Kingie. It was a beautiful one. We should do it again because this is about manhood and just. It's a tough question, but I want your opinion. Have you found your meaning?
Have I found my meaning as a human being? I think so. You mentioned something about battles and defining moments.
Yeah.
I feel like one of my core defining moments was 2017 into 2018 when I feel like there was an attack on my mind. That's when my mental health literally plummeted. And it was in this season that I got to understand the place of God's peace. And I remember I listened to a lot of Chris Vallotton. And I
know Jay. I emailed Jay Vallotton. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hi.
I'll do that. I'll do them. Yeah. But you work with a lot of you work with UNICEF, with the UN, like His Grace, the Nickelodeon, all these things.
Yeah.
How will you teach them this? What will you say?
So I like to believe that there is
they won't understand, like, what will you say to them about this, about peace, and how will you teach them this?
It's a little, which one of the reasons why I feel like I personally had to take my consecration a lot more seriously, and it's that peace is beyond words. It's beyond words. It's beyond articulation. Yeah, literally. And these things have to be. You know, it's very funny. I remember. This is School of Worship, my church, 2015. It was my first one. I remember asking a question. I asked particularly a question: can revelation be imparted? And because I'm like, yeah, you have to study to understand things. And he was like, yeah. And I feel like sometimes in us talking about things that are even not necessarily, this might be a little, it might shake theologies, but I feel like in us talking about things that are not necessarily faith-based, we can, let me say this loosely, we can sow seeds. We can transfer virtue.
Let me even stretch it a bit.
Yeah.
In Colossians, it is said, Colossians 1, in him all things were made. For him, all powers, all thrones, all authority. I'm honest, like go and read Colossians there.
Yep.
He holds all things together. Then I go and read it in Greek just to make sure that I'm not mad. And in Greek he says, all earthly, all secular, every throne. So I said, so in other words, Christ doesn't only want to be seen in a Subisola or Abiojomo. How long can you wait worship song? It's good. He also wants to be seen in a science lab.
Yeah. Yeah.
In an AI lab. In agriculture. For real. In him.
For real.
For real.
For real.
Like,
for real.
And worship is not only a song.
Yeah.
Worship is when you're working.
It's a life we live.
It's a life we. So,
worship is obedience.
The way you feel God's presence in a worship service, in court, you should feel the presence in a lab. You should feel the presence in the studio. You should feel the presence when you're doing agricultural stuff. And you're like, whoa, I can plan this. But I don't know if people understand it this way. That, that he will give you words, you're right, to explain peace that they can't grasp with their mental need, their mental comprehension. And it's only by revelation. And you hold your hand and say, receive peace, and they'll call you the next day. Hey, Kingie, can I see you?
Because I remember the first video I put up was me saying that I have my days. I have my days where I literally question my entire human existence. But then I remember I have words that have been spoken over me and they would come to pass. That's literally like one of the first videos I made that are like, yeah. And I made it and put it up, just uploaded it. And someone sent a message to me exactly a year after that. And he was like, he saw that video, and right during that period, he was sick. He was in the hospital. Imagine someone who's like probably who is like 90, losing so much weight that they're skinnier than me.
Wow.
He sent me videos that he had lost so much weight, but then he held on to this one thing that I said.
Wow.
And I have people who come and they're like, I don't know what it is about you
Spiritual.
but there is something.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of responsibility, but knowing that there is a calling somewhere makes you know that you don't have to make it your responsibility.
This morning I was telling my child, myself, my baby, my for real, I was telling my young imagination this morning that you know thief, you're not a dreamer. I didn't steal this dream. I know thief am. Like, so just stop, don't give up, keep dreaming. It's not my responsibility to do it. Like, I didn't steal it. It's not that I didn't steal this vision. I'm not thief am. I didn't steal you. God said I should build platform for creatives to come out. I didn't steal it. I don't want it. I don't. So you're right. I'm not responsible to make it happen.
Yeah, it's him that'll make it happen. You just have to make yourself available. Because sometimes I think about it. I was speaking with somebody a while back. I'm like, a lot of the stuff I made in the early times were not the most commercial things to talk about. Like, they were not the most commercial things to talk about. But somehow, and that's why I said I caught myself trying. Of course, there's a thing with the algorithm where you're trying to. But then I also tell myself one thing. I'm like, Katie, why? I always try to ask myself why. Why? Check my heart. Why? Of course, I'm living in Nigeria. I live for myself. I must chop. I must chop. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm just like, you can't be serving God's will, and He would leave you.
You can't. He won't.
So with that in mind, I just like,
You won't. You won't.
And people just come like, okay, there's just something about you. There's just something about you. Of course, I understand my giftings and the things that that come easily to me. I understand those places, and I believe those things were put in place to make this easy. But at the same time,
I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas